Hello everyone, it's Eric Paul, and this is another edition of Dream Bracket. That series was invented in 2K11. The Dream Bracket is basically this for anyone that doesn't know. It's all the teams that never make the playoffs, or they do, but they're always a really low seed. So I put, my favorite team, the Kings, at the 1 seed, and I actually played as them so I could get them to the finals. And I simmed the rest of the games, and the Bucks just happened to make it. You know this is a video game when this happens. This will never happen. The NBA will never let this happen. That would be detrimental to the league, if you could say. But I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about the real-life Sacramento Kings. The ones with, the players and the basketball and being in Sacramento and all that stuff. And it's not looking good. It's not good. They've been there. Sacramento Kings came to Sacramento in 1985, I think, from Omaha. No. I think it was Kansas City. I can't remember. It was somewhere in the Midwest. And before that, they were the Rochester Royals, and they had won a championship in 1951, but that's irrelevant. But now it's looking like they're probably not going to be in Sacramento anymore. And it's really, really sad, because being from Modesto, that's all we've got. I mean, we've got all our Bay Area sports teams, but nothing in the Central Valley, except for the Kings. The Kings are it. And when they're gone, that's it. It's all over. And the city is trying to get funds for a new arena, but it's just not panning out. And it doesn't seem like the league is very interested in helping, even though they forced the Maloofs to stay in Sacramento for another year. The Maloofs, if you don't know, are their owners. And the Maloofs, I don't like these guys. I used to think I did, but after what they want to do with the Kings, I really don't like them. They want to move the Kings to Anaheim, and I'm sure a lot of people know that already. But that makes me really sad, because there are so many other markets and cities that want the Kings, and Anaheim would probably be my last choice of all of the cities on the list. It's really, really sad. And at the same time, Southern California has two basketball teams in the same city. Anaheim may be 1 hour outside of LA, but that's just it. It's 1 hour. They'll oversaturate the market with teams. It'll be like in hockey with the New York Islanders, the New York Rangers, and the New Jersey Devils. It would just be bogged down. Like it's almost laughable having that many teams close together like that. And the Anaheim City Board, they really want the Kings. And they wouldn't be called the Kings if they moved to Anaheim. They'd be called the Anaheim Royals, to bring back the old name that they used to have back in the beginning of the franchise in the 40s and 50s. Because Sacramento bought the rights to the Kings name, just like the Supersonics did in Seattle. While the Supersonics moved to Oklahoma City and became the Oklahoma City Thunder, they would still be called the Supersonics if Seattle hadn't taken the name. I'm glad, though, that team stuck to a small market and gave a city a chance that no other team would give a chance. Oklahoma City is a great basketball city, as is Sacramento. Sacramento is probably, if not the best basketball city in the world. The fans are incredibly loyal. They do not abandon their team, even in the worst seasons. The worst stretch of basketball in the last decade. probably belongs to the Kings. The franchise has been scrutinized, fixed against, and just shambled by the NBA, just destroyed basically. And now their arena is getting old, and the Maloofs want out. It's really sad. And I think, if I recall, the last time I did this video in 2K11, I talked about the same subject. Now, there are some other more breaking stories about this. There's a new, I'll call him prospector, like he's the old prospector from, I think, Rudolph. But this prospector wants to buy the team, which the Maloofs aren't going to sell. That really sucks. I wish they would. But this guy wants to buy the team and take them to Seattle. Now, that's not actually bad, because I think Seattle was pretty good to their basketball teams as well. It just wasn't the best, most lucrative market. They would probably end up either being the Royals there, or they would actually take on the name the Supersonics, because Seattle does own the rights to that name. And that's breaking news. That's very recent. I think that article was in the newspaper today. I wouldn't have a problem with that. There was another push back when this move idea was newer, to move them to San Jose or Las Vegas or Santa Clara. All these wonderful places in Northern California / Nevada that would be just awesome. Like, I would love to be like the fan of the Los Angeles, or not the Los Angeles. Wow, that's a big slip. The Las Vegas Kings or Royals or whatever it would be, because actually I don't think they would ever be called the Kings anywhere else in Sacramento, because Sacramento owns the right to the Sacramento Kings name. But just when I was younger, when the Kings were really, really good, when they were like the best team in the NBA, I was about 9-10 years old, and that was back when I didn't know any better, and I thought, oh wait, the Kings have always been this good, right? Just like all my favorite teams, like the Raiders and the Oakland A's. They were really good, and I didn't realize that they had been really bad for a long time. So I expected them to win. And at the same time, even as a little kid, I thought, how is there only one team in Sacramento? Out of all these sports, there's only one professional, big-time professional team in Sacramento. And if you think about it, Sacramento is just an awesome place for a basketball team. It's Sacramento. Enough said. It's like Memphis, Oklahoma City, Portland, places like that. Places that aren't necessarily the richest cities, but they appreciate the fact that they have a basketball team. They appreciate the fact that they have a team of anything. Not just like, LA, where they're like, oh, we need a football team. It's like, no, you don't. You have a lot of other things. You have 2 basketball teams, a baseball team, and a couple hockey teams. I'm going to count the Anaheim Ducks. They're fine. They don't need another team in that market. And the Maloofs are going to do it purely for money. Not for the nostalgia of it, not for the I'm not really sure what to say, but the true legend of it, the lore of it, And Sacramento It's just the city's fallen on really hard times in the economy. This area of the country has probably been hit the hardest out of anywhere. Even harder than Detroit, believe it or not. Yeah. If any of you guys are watching from Detroit, yeah, it's a lot worse here. It's getting better a little bit, I guess. I mean, people can sort of get jobs. Sort of. But, you know, this is all we've got. And when the Kings do move, if they move, depending on where they go, will be depending on if I stay a fan of them or not. Because if they go to a place that isn't all about the money, I'll stay a fan. If they go to a place, basically only one place, Anaheim, if they go to Anaheim, I will abandon them. And I will become like a Warriors fan or, I don't know, a Trailblazers fan. I got to keep it West Coast at least. The Suns. But they'll be dead to me. Just completely dead to me. I won't care if they win or lose. They probably won't do very well there anyway because their GM, Jeff Petrie, is just not very good at what he does. I mean, come on. Jeff Petrie, why did you trade Chris Webber? Why did you trade Peja Stojakovic? Why did you trade those guys? Why did you trade Kevin Martin? Why did you trade Ron Artest? Why did you trade Gerald Wallace? Why did you trade Hedo Turkoglu? I mean, those guys are stars in their own right. Every single one of those names. Now, obviously, Chris Webber is retired. Peja, I'm pretty sure he's retired. But I'm just going to wrap it up here. The Kings need to stay in Sacramento. It'll be right for the NBA. And it'll be right for us. All of us that have one professional sports team in our towns, we know who we are. We want to keep them as bad as possible. And I really hope the Maloofs make the right decision to keep them here. So players like that guy, Jimmer Fredette, Marcus Thornton, Tyreek Evans, DeMarcus Cousins, so those guys can stay in Sac-Town. Because that's where it's at. That's where basketball lives. This is Eric Paul, and I'm signing out. Please rate, comment, and subscribe.
Who would have speculated when this season started that the team on this stage would be the last one standing? Congratulations to the players, the coaching staff, and of course, the fans.
Clark, I can speak for myself, but hasn't this been a tremendous playoffs?
It really has been, Kevin. I mean, you never know when you start the postseason what you're in store for, how things will turn up. But we now all know what the end result was.
Steve, I know you've enjoyed every second of this series.
That's been phenomenal to watch, Kevin. And what impresses me the most is, you know, the NBA playoffs are such a grind. To win it all, to go through so much adversity, the roller coaster ride of emotions. And now all of a sudden this team can just relax and let out everything and enjoy the night.
And we have enjoyed our time with you folks all season long. For Doris Burke, Clark Kellogg, Steve Kerr, and the entire 2K Sports crew, this is Kevin Harlan saying so long. Have a wonderful summer.